Back in the book segment tonight, the New York Times roughed up author Pat Buchanan today in an editorial marking a census of 300 million Americans. The Times opined, quote, "The doomsayer's torch has lately been grabbed by cultural sentinels like Pat Buchanan, whose new book warns the United States is being reconquered by disease-carrying Latinos. Unless Americans of white European descent can ziplock the borders and start churning out babies," he says, "their age of civilizing domination is done for," unquote. Joining us now from San Francisco to reply, the author of the best-selling book, State of Emergency, Pat Buchanan. You getting the key to the city of San Francisco? Is that what somebody calling me out there? You and Nancy Pelosi going to dinner tonight?
That's not why I'm out here, Bill. But I will say this: I read that editorial on the plane and handed it to my wife and laughed. I said, "Look, if they're going to trash me, that's fine, but they ought to have at least the courtesy of mentioning the name of the book
in the editorial." No, you'll never get reviewed. They'll never mention the book. Same thing with me. So you're in good company. Now, they're clearly trying to paint you as a racist. That was what the disease thing was all about. That offend you?
No, it doesn't. It was, matter of fact, one of the facts in my book. I believe the New York Times itself had a big story saying 1 in 7 East Asians in New York, I believe, had either hepatitis or TB. And I've got that fact in my book. And the truth is, tuberculosis is rampant in this country, and a lot of diseases are coming back. And it's because these 12 million illegals who come across the border, many of them have diseases, and they're not checked. You've got malaria, dengue fever, Chagas disease, polio is coming back. They even had the plague in South Texas. Leprosy is making a comeback. The New York Times, this thing is simply a screed. And it's written by people who have lost the battle, Bill, for this reason. Look, when Hillary Rodham Clinton votes for 700 miles of security fence herself, along with 79 other Republicans and Democrats, those of us who have fought for border security have won the battle with the American people.
But my question is a little bit more subtle than policy. I agree with you. Most of the American people want secure borders, and they want an orderly immigration process. But the newspaper is attacking you and wants people to believe that Pat Buchanan is a rank racist who hates Latinos and wants to do them harm. That's what this newspaper wants their readers to believe. Does that offend you?
Look, the personal insult is the last recourse of an exhausted mind. These terms, racist or xenophobe or nativist, that are used on folks that want to secure the borders, these are the cuss words of the establishment which has lost the country. They are name-calling. They are trying to brand and stamp people like me and like you and others who have argued this case as beyond the periphery, outside the pale of legitimate argument. What the New York Times does is tries to define the borderlines of legitimate argument. They consider themselves in the center. There's a center-right which can be heard, and folks on the left all the way over to the Marxists can be heard. But on the right, or on the populist right, the libertarian right, if you take positions which they detest, they will try to define you outside the realm of legitimate discussion. They will basically tell people, don't pay any attention to him because he's a racist. But they've used these things so many times that they no longer have the toxic power they once had, Bill.
Okay. State of Emergency is a bestseller. Culture Warrior, my book, is #1 on the Times list this week. They ignore them. Is that, I was surprised they attacked you by name, because the usual tactic is ignore Buchanan, ignore O'Reilly, because, as you said, they're just not worth thinking about. Yet they chose you today to make an example of. Why?
Well, from their standpoint, it was a stupid thing. I mean, they haven't reviewed my book. They're saying, in effect, even though it's been 5 weeks in a row on the bestseller list, 6th or above, what they're saying, in effect, is his views are irrelevant. They're not really anywhere near the mainstream. They're in the extreme. Why they would take this occasion to go at length on me personally without mentioning the book escapes. It helps me. It does. But it escapes me why they don't mention the book.
Because they despise the book. That's why. I mean, you know, they're just... Yeah. But we were all surprised to see that. We were. All right, Pat, good luck to you.
Their skin.
You know, tell everybody you see in San Francisco that O'Reilly said hello. And have a good time with Nancy Pelosi tonight.
I'm going to have a great time in San Francisco. Take it easy.